What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between? Welcome to Straightforward with Ms.B, episode 66. As we always do, grab your vices, chill out, relax, sit on your couch, do what you have to do, and grab your vices. And of course, as always, let's get straight to the darn thing. So today we will be discussing the controversy surrounding famed African American actor and actress Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, and Jada's recent book called Worthy. We'll dive into that a little bit. And also, I want to take the latter part of this conversation just to tap into the um, NBA player Dwight Howard's personal entanglement situation that has been the topic of discussion as well on social media recently. I think both of these stories, although they are different, um, at the root of each of the stories, however, dealing with the personal relationship aspect of it, I believe those two can relate in that way, as in regards to entanglements. So that's why I wanted to use this opportunity for this episode to get into some things. So, Miss Jada Pinkett Smith, as you all know, she recently released a new book called Worthy. As of this morning, actually, it has now become a New York Times bestseller on the actual list. Her book debuted at number 4 for nonfiction books. So they take into consideration print and any e-commerce ebook sales as well. And congrats, let's give her some applause. Congrats to Jada for making it to the list. That's what's up. So during this whole promo run that she has been on, promoting the book, a lot of things that many of her fans and just, people who like to have their curiosities piqued, it's a lot of stuff that she kind of brought to the light that we absolutely did not know. Of course, as we know, people who is into like pop culture when it comes to like urban news, I would say. Um, you know that Jada Pinkett Smith grew up. I believe she went to high school with Tupac Shakur. May he rest in peace. They were extremely close. During her promo run, she talked about she delved into their relationship. Of course, when they're doing a promo run for a book, um, most times the authors will, do press runs, and they will kind of give away little tidbits that will help lure in people to purchase their books and, just to read them, of course. And she was kind of shocking a lot of us. Not only her fans were shocked, but hell, even her husband, Will Smith, Will Smith was shocked as well. He did recently come out to congratulate her, also for making the bestsellers list. Um, He basically, kind of left a comment in the comment sections, stating, quote unquote, New York Times bestselling author Jada Pinkett Smith, congrats, mama, big looks. I thought that was pretty nice of him to do that, and I'm sure behind closed doors, on a more personal level, he's congratulating her, also. Um, Jada herself, definitely, shouted herself out and pat her own self on the back, um, with a post to her Instagram page, basically telling everyone thank you, to the Red Table Talk family, the worthy warriors, and to all who wanted to know my story behind headlines. The 52-year-old wrote on Instagram along with a video message. She basically went on in the video saying, I was sitting here thinking that there was a time when women actually had to take on the names of men in order to be published. And here we have four women at the top of the bestsellers list. I'm deeply grateful. And the other four women she mentioned, she was talking about Rachel Maddow, who released a book called Prequel, Cassidy Hutchison. Her book title is Enough. And let's see here. She also named Dolly Parton behind the scenes. So she basically was sharing her kudos to those women, as well. Um, According to People magazine, when Jada was a guest on a recent episode of On Purpose with Jay Shetty, the host read to her a letter written by Will in which he reacted to reading her book. Will stated, I just turned the final page of Worthy, wrote Will, who married Jada in 1997. It is amazing to realize that despite having lived most of my life by your side, I still found myself shocked and stunned and caught off guard, laughing, then inspired, then heartbroken. I was all over the place. It's one thing to hear anecdotes at a family barbecue, but it was truly overwhelming to take in your story potently condensed in this way. Oh, Will, who also was published, he published his own memoir entitled Will, in 2021. He also added, that Jada is quote unquote one of one, a rare blend of power and delicate sensitivity. I know it wasn't easy to excavate the depths in that way. I applaud and honor you, he wrote in the letter. If I had read this book 30 years ago, I definitely would have hugged you more. I'll start now. Welcome to the Authors Club. I love you endlessly. Now go get some Merlot and take a rest. Oh, oh, that is so fucking sweet. But as you remember, for those who follow her on Instagram, she announced her book was coming out, back in June of this year. And she just kind of hinted that, hey, many think they already know, meaning probably many think they know her story. Um, she stated, the fact that I have in the last 4 years contributed to the creation and um, perpetuate, perpetuation. Oh, Lord, perpetuation. Why am I can't goddamn talk today. Of falsehoods about myself in which other untrue narratives were birthed has surely aided in the misunderstandings that surround me. This fall, with deep humility and respect, I will take back my narrative. I know that's right. I know that's right, Jada. And that is what she did. I can't wait. I myself, being, I would consider a pretty avid reader. I enjoy reading books. For those of you who don't necessarily like reading books. Now, I hate reading a textbook, if as far as like classroom type work or, college textbooks, but outside of that, give me a good memoir, nonfiction, fiction. I'm all into that. My last book I read was, and I think I may have mentioned it on a previous episode, was the Young Jeezy book called Adversity for Sale, and it was pretty good. Pretty short book. I read that book damn near what on a round trip flight. I was finished reading it. But so I will be definitely purchasing Jada's book because I do want to read it as well. I believe that, and I had this discussion actually last night, and shout out to all of the Alabama State and Alabama A&M University alumni who came out to like a networking mixer to kick off um, the Magic City, the annual Magic City Classic football game that's happening this weekend in Birmingham, Alabama. Shout out to everybody who is attending. But yeah, so there was like a little mixer that we had on last night here at Gaucher's Tapas Bar in Atlanta. It was very nice. We all had a good time. I was happy to see some old faces. But one of my former classmates, Royce, if you do tune into this episode, shout out to you. Um, we was just talking about, hey, catching up, what are you doing these days? Blah blah blah. Told him I did a podcast that we kind of got on that topic of current events a little bit, and we did mention Jada Pinkett Smith's name in that, and I was just telling him how although I have not read the book, I do not fully know Jada Pinkett Smith's life story or anything like that. But just kind of the way that she carries herself, I can relate to her. She has a dominant energy about her, and I can relate to that. And sometimes when you, as a woman who has a dominant energy, of course, sometimes we kind of grew up in environments in which we kind of had to be that way in order to be protected and protect ourselves, as well as maybe others, our loved ones also. um but I can relate to her when it comes to that, although her presence on the outside, when you look at her, you would kind of probably consider her, or if you did not know her at all, that she is maybe, overly maybe sensitive person, which I'm sure she definitely may be sensitive on the inside, but just from the outer appearance of her, you will probably think she's probably very submissive and sensitive and girly, 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 and all of that. But however, like I said, because of maybe circumstances growing up, um, just different things in her environment may have just, you know, helped her become this person where she just had to carry a lot of strength on the inside. And I think that, hey, there's nothing wrong with that, from being a female, because a lot of times, especially in society, we believe that as a woman, you should be a certain way, act a certain way, look a certain way, respond to things a certain way, say certain things, in a certain way. And it's like, that's definitely not realistic. All women are not created equal. We are created equal when it comes to maybe physical things on our bodies and the way that our body responds, like childbirth and things of that nature. But essentially, we are all different people, and we're made up of you know various characteristics and traits. So But Jada Pinkett, I definitely can relate to her in that sense, and I appreciate her for writing, telling her kind of life story in this book, and I can't wait to read it. Of course, I want to get into the whole Tupac situation. I Tupac is my all time favorite hip hop artist. So I can't wait to her to discuss that. Some of the other things that she kind of brought up during the promo run. Hey, she let all of us know who did not know that her and Will Smith were actually separated for 7 years. Um, they've been married for quite some time, but they actually have been separated for 7 years, which a lot of us didn't know. So while there were constant rumors going around as far as who they dating, side chicks, side dudes, August Alsina, whom apparently August, who is a younger guy, he's an R&B singer, may have had some entanglement situations with Jada Pinkett as well. Um, and Will Smith, like I said, there's always been rumors of him seeing other women, and then there was also rumors of them maybe being swingers and things of that nature. Um, Hell, if they were separated, then shit, they pretty much had the right, although not legally divorced, but if they're separated, then that means that they're out there doing their own thing. And I'm sure in those 7 years, they were dating other people, seeing other people. You know, g- I'm sure Jada was getting her back blown out by other people. And, Will Smith was doing it ones and twos with, other people. So they kind of, they have always kind of lived their life on their own terms, and as much grief as the public always seem to give them, shit, I appreciate that. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, I was having a discussion with an ex of mine, an ex boyfriend who I was with for a very long time. But, after years, we kind of met up or whatever for dinner, and we were having a discussion, just kind of like relationships or what we kind of would want our next relationship to be. um and I'm like, hey, I believe that it just all boils down to the two people that's involved in that relationship or marriage. You and him, or him and her, it is their own fucking right to establish whatever standards, whatever traditions, whatever, it's up to them to create and cultivate how they want their relationship or their commitment to one another be. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Us as the public, one, we need to learn how to stay out of people's business. However, it's just, hey, we're all kind of nosy to some degree. So we're just kind of in celebrities' business all the time, because a lot of times, some things are put on front street for us to hear about it or read about it. But ultimately, you know, couples have the right to like I said, create and cultivate the relationship that they feel will be best suited for them. I'm sure, because as of now, Will and Jada are not divorced. They're not divorced at all. If they are still separated, they're separated for a reason. You know, maybe because, hey, when we got into this marriage, we both committed to the fact that, hey, we will absolutely, under no circumstances, ever get a divorce. Okay. Right? And there could be various reasons as to why they made that particular commitment to one another. A lot of times, it could be because of the kids. They want to stay together for their kids. Um, when I say stay together, as far as like on paper, they want to be stay together on for their kids. Um, maybe for financial reasons as well, and then also, because they both kind of took this oath when they got married, and to uphold the sanctity of their marriage, and not get a legal divorce. um that could be another reason as well why they chose to stay married, even though they are um essentially kind of living two separate lives at this point. I'm sure all of us have noticed Will Smith. I mean, I remember when he first created like an Instagram page and a YouTube channel. Man, he has so many fans. His videos and stuff get millions and millions of views. He has millions of followers. Will Smith can kind of do no wrong in the public eye at all. Jada kind of the same way. You can kind of tell in this relationship that Jada might be the one who probably, many would probably consider the more what's a better word? I don't want to say the bad person, or in the group, but maybe the one that probably would take more risks. You know what I'm saying? Um but Will, also on his side, like I said, on his social media pages and stuff like that, we always see Will traveling. He's here, he's there. Of course he has to go shoot movies, so he's in these foreign places for months at a time, shooting these films. And I'm sure over time for Jada, it probably, because, Jada hasn't really been in a lot of films. I guess at some point, maybe she fell out of love with acting, or, just to be home. She wanted to be home to raise her kids, but I'm sure at some point it may have gotten lonely to her, or she may have just evolved into this woman who, was like, okay, I'm in this space where it's like I don't really have a full time husband that's home with me constantly because he's on the road. I probably need to start delving into something else so I can kind of live my life as well, and not rely on Will to be the foundation of my own personal happiness. So, eventually, she did the movie. What was the name of that fucking movie with Tiffany Haddish and Queen Latifah was in that movie. I can't believe I just forgot the name of that, but you know, in more recent years, she did that film. And then of course, Facebook gave her her own show, The Red Table Talk, as well. Hopefully, she brings that back. I don't see why she won't just bring it back to maybe YouTube. But she definitely can bring that show back. So I'm sure it just seems as though Jada Pinkett Smith maybe reached a point to where she's like, hey, you know, I am I'm in a space now where I need to generate or um, continue with providing my own happiness, instead of maybe relying on will to do that. And I commend her for that. Again, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. I don't know her personally or anything like that, but that's just kind of the vibes that I get from Jada. So, like I said, I am definitely waiting to read this book. Um, I know it's going to be very good, and yeah, I can't wait to read it. And on another note, like I said, I wanted to get into um another person who apparently apparently allegedly is rumored to have had, some undercover lovers as well. Um, like I said, NBA basketball player Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, he is an Atlanta native. Um, I believe he have several kids, maybe three, four, maybe. He was married at one time. What was her name? I believe her name was Royce Reed, I believe. She was I want to say she was a cheerleader down in Florida. I'm not 100% sure. However, um for some time now, for some years, there have been rumblings on the street about Dwight Howard and his not sexuality per se, but just his sexual escapades. And recently, basically, he's now being I believe sued. To me, it looks like some form of extortion by a homosexual male, some young guy, who basically kind of came out, trying to spill the beans on Dwight Howard. He released some private messages between him and Dwight, and baby, it just seems as though he definitely has been trying to extort the dude, you know? He definitely has been trying to extort the dude. Let me see if I can pull up those text messages. But then it has gotten to the point to where, you know, a trans a trans woman has also come out because as you all may remember, years ago there were um some interesting allegations, and they saying that, hey, Dwight Howard, he liked to play with the lady boys. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's what it was. So now this guy who came out, this young man who came out, basically, um, let me see if I can find it, you guys. All right. The guy basically was saying that, you know, they was meeting up, um, and it may have been, a situation where the boy was thinking that, well, the young man, I'm not going to call him a boy because he's of legal age, but the young man basically was thinking it was just going to be him and Dwight, hooking up and doing the do or whatever the case may be. But Dwight actually wanted to bring in a third person. He wanted to bring in a trans woman, to have relations. It was gonna be like a threesome. This was gonna be his threesome. Dwight has always kind of said that he was a freaky guy, and so hey, he just kind of took it to the next level. However, the guy basically, um, basically the young man felt some kind of way about it, and now, has a lawsuit against him. So just reading here, I had to find it on Instagram. Let me see. It says the guy whose last name is Harper, and I'm just going off of, let me see. And this is from It Is What It Is underscore talk Instagram page. It says Harper said in the lawsuit that he reached out to Dwight Howard with a direct message on Instagram. He said he said he sent his cell phone number, which Howard then text him. In the lawsuit, the guy said that Dwight Howard told him he was into freaky sexual stuff and that he asked for the guy to send him some explicit photos. In his response, Howard said he did exchange texts with the man between May of 2021 to July of 2021, several of which included sexually explicit content, such as, some photographs and some naughty videos. Um, in the complaint, the guy said that Dwight Howard wanted a threesome with a trans woman named Kitty. But the guy wasn't really into that. He resisted it. He said that Kitty started performing. Um, he said that Kitty started performing oral sex on Howard. So I'm assuming that Kitty came over to the spot and the threesome was going down. Harper then said he was uncomfortable and did not want to participate. Harper said that Howard tried to touch his thigh and stroke his, eggplant through his underwear. Harper said he asked Howard to stop. Instead of listening, he claims that Dwight Howard told him he was going to do whatever and he was, quote unquote, going to like it. And then part of this shit is cut off. Anyway, I guess he said he stopped when Dwight saw that the guy really wasn't enjoying it. The lawsuit stated that Dwight Howard then ordered Harper to his bed. Harper said Kitty was having sex with Howard. Harper said Howard forced him to perform oral sex. He said he tried to call an Uber after the incident, but Howard made Kitty take the boy home. The lawsuit accused Howard of assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and something else, but the article is cut off. In addition, says, and these is basically kind of like takeaways from the actual lawsuit paperwork. It says, in addition, Howard admitted that he touched Kitty and the guy, but said it was all consensual activity. Quote unquote, the three agreed to touch one another and to engage in consensual sexual activity, and this is what Dwight Howard's attorney stated. Um, Howard denied that he sexually assaulted Harper and forced him to receive or perform any sexual acts, and he has demanded that the entire lawsuit be thrown out of court. Child. They didn't really say how much the guy's trying to sue him for, though. Like, if it's like 10 G's, 20, how much is he trying to sue him for? What's the total of the damages? That's what I want to know, because, you know, if it was a $5,000, $10,000, the white, okay, go ahead and throw the boy 10 grand, make him sign an NDA. You know what I'm saying? And shit, seal the court documents and leave it at that. Just go ahead and settle, you know. But I really want to know how much that guy got in mind, as far as like how much he want to sue him for. But since then though, Dwight himself have come out and here's what he got to say. Let me plug my phone up in here so we can take a listen. Let's see.
That's the problem with y'all people. Y'all worried about who people spend their time with. Whatever I'm doing in my bedroom is my
Shit.
time with. That's the problem with y'all people. Y'all worried about who people spend their time with. Whatever I'm doing in my bedroom is my damn business. Whatever you doing in your bedroom is your damn business. That ain't for everybody. And everybody don't need to know. You ain't got to say anything about what you doing in your fucking house. It's your house. You ain't got to explain that to nobody, no matter what they say. They can say anything. Who gives two shits? Y'all too damn nosy, worried about what I'm doing in my bed. Hell, the people who know what's going on in my bed, they know what the hell going on with my bed and what the hell I do in it. That ain't for everybody on the internet. That ain't for no blogs. That ain't for no websites. I don't got to tell nobody where I put my wood at, since y'all want to get to it. That ain't nobody business where I put my shit at. Y'all just weird. If you want to know what people doing in their bedroom and who they messing with and sleeping with, you are weird. You're the weird one. Oh, shoot. Y'all heard about that? Dwight, they said Dwight was in a text messaging a guy. Nigga, who cares? Who cares who I was text messaging? You just mad because I want text messaging. Yo, ugly ass.
If he ain't Atlanta. That ugly ass took me out. I swear to God, that ugly ass took me out. Okay, well, that's what Dwight Howard had to say, y'all. You know? And he got a point, you know? He really has a point. We be too, society, the public, people on social media, we actually we be having too much time on our hands because a lot of us, we be so concerned about other people's lives. Like, we be too concerned, you guys. And it's a shame that, especially when it comes to like people's sexuality, who they sleeping with, who they not sleeping with. It's like we are absolutely too, just like the Jada and Will situation. For years, people have always been concerned and nosy and want to know what's going on in Will and Jada's bedroom. It ain't none of our business. We shouldn't care as much as we care. If Dwight Howard himself wants to go out and live a certain lifestyle, however, the man is still working. The man still got a check. He got money, lots of money. He take care of his kids. He's an upstanding citizen. He's not out here killing folks. He's not out here doing mass shootings. And rest in peace, by the way, to those people in, what is it, Lexington, Maine, who the guy, some army person, went out and actually shot and killed like 20 people and shoot, maybe more than that, was probably injured, shot out. I mean, not shot out, but rest in peace. I send my heartfelt condolences to all of those families. I absolutely hate, I hate to hear about those type of situations, and rest in peace to those people. But back on Dwight. Dwight is not out here committing crimes or anything of that nature. So I absolutely do not understand why we be so fucking concerned about somebody's life. Let Dwight do what he do. If he an extra freaky dude, let him be freaky. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, hopefully he keeping it strapped up. He's wearing his condoms, because we would hope he keep his health together and stuff like that. And he's not, putting people in a bad situation, but let that man live his life. Is it bad for this young guy to just come up with this story about it wasn't consensual? I think it was consensual. I think this young man basically probably did not want to share Dwight. He probably wanted to be Dwight's maybe sugar baby, and and getting all the riches, and you know what I'm saying, living that life, and wanted to probably claim Dwight as his own. But when Dwight wanted to bring in Kitty, from what I hear on the street, she has been a long time associate of Dwight, so they have a history, and so it looks like Kitty has always played her part and ain't going nowhere. So I don't know why this young man thought that he was just gonna be the only one. Apparently, Dwight probably was like, "Child," you know what I'm saying, and kind of pushed him to the curb or not giving him what he thought he was gonna give. And now the boy is upset. He's upset and has went and filed this whole fraudulent ass lawsuit. So hopefully it does get thrown out and or at least settled at the least. If you got to throw the guy a couple of thousand, go ahead and throw him a couple of thousand so you can move on with your life, Dwight. But yeah, I'm all about people living their own lives the way that they choose to live their lives. No one else should be able to have a say so in it whatsoever. If it's going to be snickering and kikis behind my back, let it be snickers and kikis behind my back. I would not give two fucks about it and continue to do me. So I employ everybody who listens in on this particular podcast, episode 66. Continue to do you. Do not give two fucks about what nobody think about you. And I'm gonna be out. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna end it on that note. I appreciate you all, as always, for tuning in, for continually to support me. Share with your friends, share with your family. If you're digging my podcast, always, you can email me topics as well. If it's something that you would like to hear me talk about, or if you have any maybe personal questions you would like me to answer, hit me up at the number 8 FWD media media at gmail.com. And again, follow us on all podcast streaming platforms and on YouTube as well. And until next time, peace out.